Hello everyone, this is Kent Ketter here with Hot Takes Match 1 Knightfall combo. Knightfall. I don't think combos need to be stated. It's kind of understood. Anyway, let's have a good time here. Yes, I would like to play first. And I would like to mulligan this hand. So, it's got the hierarch, obviously the top end, but no landos. This has a lando. Cool. So, I think my sequence will be a pretty cut and dry one here. We're going to go hierarch. With that being a bottom, this is a small thing I'd like to point out here in Modern. If you have the option between fetch and, not fetch, you get higher value from the other sequence. Excuse me. Let me be specific. By not shuffling the first turn, your draw has that small percentage of uptick. Chance of drawing something better or not a thing that you don't want, which was the card you just bottomed. Small edge, but if you're looking to, kind of fill in the minor gaps in your game, that's a really good place to take care of it. Okay. It looks like we're going to eat a bolt here. Not a whole lot we can do. Oh. Okay, no bolt. That's fine. Kind of expected a bolt there. This is going to set us up for a really wonderful collected company next turn if our opponent is not wanting to cooperate. So we actually want that land now. So we're going to play this up, crack it at the end of their turn. Yeah, this will be fine. I like how now with this deck, the opponent is aware of the fact that we have Coral Helm in the hand, but it's not a requirement. We're also going to get a little tick of damage in here. I think the threat of retreat to Coral Helm is probably going to be the better pressure in this situation. So our opponent... Our entire hand. Not sure. I think so. Yeah. Okay. We're going to F2. I do want to hold this up to represent some sort of spell, and then we'll just put the breeding pool in the play tapped. I believe is correct. Yeah. But anyway, coming off a week off, kind of a minor, thing for a lot of the people that, view it as, oh, Magic's a hobby, this and that. And I understand, sorry, let me back up a step. I understand I'm lucky that I get to do this. And I put in some work that got me into a position, and I had a great situation with the VA covering the cost of school. But so I didn't need to work as much. But in the end, I do view this as a job, and when you put in a lot of work at anything, it doesn't matter what it is, when you get to step away from that, even if it's something as enjoyable as Magic, it has that, just that vacation feel to it. And I really appreciated being able to have that vacation feel. So I'm just going to, by having a week off anyway, sorry, finish that thought. It's something that somebody pointed out in the comments. I tend to cut off in thought, and that's just my mental process, but take a step back. I think having a week to decompress and step away from Magic, I played a lot of Hex, which is nice. And I'm ready to kind of jump at this with more vigor. Not that I was, lacking in vigor previously. It's just nice to get a little break from it. Anyway, Richmond's coming up. I am going to play company. Surprise, surprise. I'm hoping to take home a win. I think it's the best deck in quite a while, and I think a lot of people should just kind of join us. Company mirrors are fun. Got a pretty good record in them. And if I could control one thing, it would be to play all company mirrors this weekend. Not to say I played them perfectly, but I play them well enough to make people not want to play me. Or at least I feel favored. I don't know. rambling's over, but our sequence here is pretty cut and dry. That angler's definitely a big deal. So 6 mana total. Oh, I can play both of these in this turn, right? Because I go retreat, landfall, untap 1. So that's 3, 4. Double checking my math. Untapped, untapped. Yep. Alright, let's put them both in play here. Right? Yeah. Sorry, the thought there was a little deep. Do you want to use yes? And I think we just fire this off here. I don't expect a game 1 sweeper, so I think I'm really just supposed to take my value where I can get it. Oh, that's a valid point there. I gotta keep that in mind. So this is a Force Poke Queller deck, and I think it's really important that you know, if you're gonna play the Quellers, that's something you gotta keep in mind with your value engine. Is that having something slightly you know, interactive like that in your deck makes your collected companies have a different context to them. I do think it's reasonable there, though, to also just run it out there, like the sequence I took. Because if you wait for their turn, you have a chance to uptick if they play another threat. But if you play it here, your board's better, so they're forced to react. And I don't think our opponent has a sweeper in the main deck. So that makes this sequence a little bit better. We're more than willing to take 5 off of the angler. So our opponent can basically 5 us and then needs to have some sort of electrolyze effect for the top here. It'll be Selfless Spirit plus 1 other, which is fine. We'll give him the Spirit. Give me 5. 5? 5. Okay, we'll take 5. Our opponent's mana base has done a significant body of work for us here. I hope that's a discard spell. Second angler? Oh, a little Tassiger action. Okay. I think that just lines up a better... Yep. Okay. So I think I actually cached this in. So here I could path that, bop the rest. Is that what I want? Yeah. Is that what I want? This is a really interesting question, is which one of these that I want to get rid of. I mean, I guess it's the Tassiger. The life total difference is pretty minimal. Our opponent can't really effectively attack. We're going to put 3 on them. Seems fine. Actually, I think it's better to swing with this. If our opponent wants to give us the straight up, I put all 4 on it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sure. Oh, better blocker in this. Take another 5 here. It's not quite burn range, so we're okay with waiting just a little bit longer. We are going to fire this off, though. I think we're okay if our opponent has, you know, a removal spell of some kind in response, which is what I expect. Probably like a bolt on the Queller. Make me discard? Yeah, sure. Okay, you can have this one. Reasonable. Because now we're gonna pace you. Well, we would, except you ate the one that does the most of the pacing. Actually. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can untap the Noble Hierarch here. Sorry, I was absolutely in the tank here on this sequence. So I can untap the Noble Hierarch here, which will give me basically a free pump. Yeah, we're gonna start with that. Okay. Put a basic into play to let us scry. So scry and a redraw all in one. Is that enough? Sorry, it was a scry and a redraw all in one. Is that better than a random? Do I really think I can beat them on the race here is the question. Or do I just lose, like, so I chump and take 5? I'll put it on the bottom. I just don't think it's good enough. I think we're very close to losing this race. So this puts us at... So we could 4, put you to 9. Yeah, that's not enough. Oof. Grixis Delver. Delver? We'll call it Delver. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So, I expect like an all-out. Oh, okay. Let's just put the triple up. Have the removal spell. Yeah. So the thought there was maybe we just take it. I feel like that puts us in a threat there. If we single block, I don't think that sets us up very well. We really just needed the opponent not to have it. So, how do we beat this type of deck? I think it starts with cutting cards like Pride Mage. So the real question is like, what do we want to bring in? Like, I could see this being good. This doesn't seem very good. Negate seems decent. Spell Queller feels like a liability here. It attacks really well. So I guess, honestly, I don't know. So I'm wondering if I'm supposed to assemble combo like I could present here with Knight Retreat. Or if I'm supposed to just cut these and look at something like this. I also don't know if I'm supposed to cut Spell Queller. That card seems like really good. Go like this, leaving in the other consideration, as always, is creatures. I think I'm going to leave in 2 Spell Quellers. And I'm going to go to this configuration, cutting the retreats. This might be wrong, but this feels like a matchup where we can just mid-range them, like, very well. And I would rather be like the flash control deck there. If that's the case, though, I think I'm supposed to play more Quellers. 30 seconds left, so not a ton of time to waffle on this. Actually, let's cut 2 of those and submit. Yeah, we'll submit that list. The back and forth there is the pressure of an 0-1. So sorry. You cut some of your accelerants against like the Wrath type decks. I'm pretty confident on that. Sure. The reasoning behind cutting those effects is that against sweepers, they're just considerably worse. So I was really in like a kind of a bind there. Is trying to board out all these other cards while keeping my creature count high is important. But this isn't really a hit. Birds isn't really. I mean, it's a hit, but like Hierarch, on the other hand, it's a hit. So there's a little back and forth there if I want the extra red source. But I think by cutting the retreats, I'm supposed to also cut birds and leave the noble hierarchs. So minor error in our sideboarding there, but it's kind of the name of the game with hot takes. I'm gonna make some really bad guesses. Our mana does look pretty good for this draw. So as this matchup feels like our mana is irrelevant at the same time, I don't expect Blood Moon out of their deck. Let's just go get, I think green-white was the appropriate one. Yeah. So I would cast a little Bird of Paradise action, and hopefully it's good enough. Next turn we can put down Voice. White. Green. So if our opponent has the Spell Snare, we're a little sad. If our opponent doesn't have the Spell Snare, we're very happy. And Spell Snare. We're going to go into play tapped here. There's not really anything that we need to represent. Okay. Well, that was fortuitous. And we could just draw one of our 3-drops for pressure. I'd be really happy here. Yep. One of the sweepers you expect, holding the birds, kind of ties right into that. I guess it's better than dealing with an anger there. It sounds much worse. And we'll just body in for 2. It's interesting, because if this was a Noble Hierarch, you know, kind of as it probably should be, the pressure changes considerably. There might have also been an advantage to running one out there earlier. Not really anything we're worried about in that Delver. We'll just crack this fetch. Okay. Maybe the negates were wrong. Well, I know it's not wrong. It's this card. Green. White. Blue. I cast to you. So opponent probably has the removal spell for it with 5 in hand. Oh, that is rough. It's also very possible I'm just like never supposed to cut the Coral Helm and always just threaten this. Don't really know. Stone Master. Stone Master. Woof. This is miserable. This is like feels pretty bad. I mean, that path might be a little premature, but it definitely feels like we're now battling away from behind. Maybe I'm supposed to hold the knight there, use the negate to protect it. That is a reasonable sequence. Oh, yeah. I appreciate a well-built Delver deck, you know, with like 30,000 spells to make sure it flips every time. Do not expect the Clasm out of the Delver deck, though. Did I know he was Delver? No, I mean, yeah. Young Powermancer is pretty much Delver. That's fair. That's fair. Swipes. Green, white. This. Hopefully they try to Cryptic or something like really spicy. So it's targeting me. Oh, I might as well counter. Get a knight. Guess I could have had a larger knight, which is going to be a little tilting if I don't. If it dies to like Flame Slash, that'd be pretty perfect, actually. I wonder if our opponent has another removal spell. If they're just gonna enter into the race modes. Oh yeah. Snapcaster. Yep. I believe we call that as expected. So the only thought there is maybe there's an earlier card that we don't pitch. Or don't, you know, like a land we don't play or something of the like to give us protection from the K command there, because we don't really care if it hits the birds. Like, that's not relevant. Okay. This definitely is a matchup where if you understand how to board or like which post-board plan has a better application, like prior to going into the matchup, you get a much... What seems like a much more powerful draw, or, you know, just execution of strategy. Delver decks are inherently difficult to board against with certain mid-range strategies such as this, is because you're not sure if you're both in that mid-range. Excuse me, let me concede this. If you're both in that mid-range strategy, which one of you is more mid-range or which one of you is more aggressive? And then on top of that, when you are the mid-range deck, such as this one, which is mid-range combo, the default is when do I cut my combo pieces? Maybe you're never supposed to cut them. Downside of being the hot take person is I'm not going to look outside, just try to, you know, make some initial reviews of this. I think there are cases where you cut it. I kind of misread that as, even though I said it was Grixis Delver, I believe I boarded more like it was Grixis Control. I think against Delver, you've got to retain the combo and just have it. Negates might be a little slow. I think Queller might be the better option there. But we do it to learn, and it's definitely interesting when you've got those mid-range decks in Modern, especially, where they can take similar, but, you know, they can take similar roles, and it's only a few cards difference between one to the other, but the original point was that your deck is much more powerful when boarded correctly. I feel like that matchup, being Grixis Delver versus Knightfall, I think it's decent for Knightfall. I don't think how it was portrayed there was maybe an accurate representation of the closeness of that match. Or what I feel like could be the closeness of that match. But then again, that's the Delver/Jund conundrum. You know, you're 55% against the field. And you lose a couple percent and suddenly you're 50-50, or, you know, you play badly and then you're way behind. But anyway, match 1. We got 4 more to go. This was Ken Ketter with Hot Takes. We'll see you at the next one.